Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy and welcome back to another episode of Cinderella Phenomenon. So, let's jump right back in. When I look up, I see Walt standing in front of me with a shield. Mythros' hand lies flat against the shield and I can feel the heat of his magic. Varge lies on the ground, beside the fallen sword, unconscious from the impact of magic. Even Chevalier is on his knees. I rush towards the sword. At the same moment, Waltz pushes Mythros back onto the ground. Then, sword in hand, I stand above Mythros and aim it at his neck. The blade touches his skin without sinking into it. Melanie is hiding behind the throne, staring out at the scene with shock in her tear-stained face. "Will you kill me?" Mythros' smile is a mere shadow of itself. "You saw the soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how close some of them were to death. Do you see the hollow look in their eyes?" "I have seen that look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious, and a life is still a life, whether it's vile or not. It is still a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable lives are because I have helped so many people." "That desperation is in Mythros' eyes now, a man that clings to life." "It would be so easy to slice his throat." "I have seen so much bloodshed on this night, and it was all caused by Mythros. If I kill him, I could stop all of it. But that would make me no better than Mother." I drop the sword. Mythros actually stops to stare at me in shock. "I am not like my mother. I will not kill you for revenge." No sooner have I said the words than I feel a sudden heat at my chest. My hand instinctively reaches up to grab the necklace around my neck. And then there is a bright light. When the light clears, a new source of light catches my eyes. I stop and stare down at my feet, which are in glass slippers that shine so brightly they sparkle even in the dim light. But I have no time to admire the shoes, or the weight that has fallen off my shoulders. I barely recognize that the fairy tale curse has been broken. Melanie rises from behind the throne and screams, "Melanie, watch out!" Mythros has grabbed the sword with his hand, turned it around, and is aiming it at my chest. It hits a barrier. Parfait stands beside me once more, her face devoid of any color. I did not see her rush in here. She takes a step forward as if to shield me. "Out of my way." Mythros draws the sword back and plunges it against the shield. This time the blade is coated with darkness. It pierces the already flimsy shield, and the blade goes through Parfait's heart. "No!" "Parfait!" Parfait grabs the blade and narrows her eyes at Mythros. "I'm sorry Hildir did not appreciate you." Something swells inside of me as I stare at Parfait. The sword is impaled in her, and I can see her eyes go glassy. I cannot speak, cannot breathe. Walt rushes forward with his magic and pins Mythros forcefully to the ground. He raises his hand, but it never comes down in time. A sword strikes past his shoulder, right at Mythros' neck. When I turn, it is Chevalier that's holding it. His body shakes as tears run down his cheeks. Mythros holds his neck as Chevalier holds up the blade and throws it behind him. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch movement that can only be Varge, but I do not care. "Lady Parfait, do not move. We can take the sword out, we can—" But I see hopelessness in Chevalier's expression, and I know that whatever wound Parfait took was lethal. I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in Parfait's. "There is no need to fuss." When Parfait falls, Waltz grabs her and puts his hand to the hilt of the sword. Chevalier crumples beside her. He stares at the blood staining her dress with sorrow. I start to cry. "Melody, do not regret this. I am proud of you." The room is quiet, even with the newcomers that arrive. The knights and Karma watch the scene from the sidelines, all with grim looks on their faces. Last to arrive is Delora, who sits beside Parfait with her lips pulled up or into an uptight frown. Her face is stern, but I could tell it's a mask. Parfait, that look doesn't suit you, Delora. I told you to stay back. Had I not been here in time, the princess would have... Her words fall apart as she begins to cough. Delora leans over her and shakes her head. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. Everything is as it should be, Delora. Parfait cranes her neck to look up at me. Wipe away your tears, Melody. What you did was a good deed. You spared a man's life. But life is not a fairy tale. Humans are good and bad. No, it isn't. But the fear of death makes a life even more valuable. Do not worry, Princess, I chose this. Parfait smiles. It is mystifying to see her smile when her body is slowly crumbling away in Waltz's grasp. Parfait's body is what gives out first. Her eyes go next. They remain focused on me, still smiling. Her body begins to glow as her body slowly fades away. Parfait! Parfait! Delora turns away. Hold on, guys. My eye is hurting because I'm starting to cry. Even if she is not shedding any tears, it is clear that she is heartbroken. She closes her eyes and releases a shaky sigh. Sweet dreams, my friend. I do not know how long we all stay in that room, mourning the loss of Parfait. Karma, Jurian, and Garland eventually spread out to search for any remaining danger. At some point, they return with the king and the rest of the family. My reunion with my family is half-hearted. I do not know what to say to people that I hated only months ago. Despite the quiet, they all take me in with open arms. The king stays by my side long after the others have left. Karma and the knights return to the march to tell the others the news. Waltz goes to search the palace for any remaining resistance. Only Dolores, Chevalier, the king, and I remain. Chevalier cries. I've never seen him cry before, and his heartbreak is my own. What happened was a nightmare, but it eventually ended. Last night, Varge escaped the throne room. No one saw where he disappeared to in all the chaos. I am beginning to believe that his faint was a trick. Since the night had left everyone so tired, we were offered rooms in the palace. I came to my room with Chevalier, where the two of us attempted to comfort each other with words. Chevalier was especially shaken, being the one to kill Mythros. He was in tears for a long time. I'm pretty sure that I must have fallen asleep sometime when we were talking, but I am lying in my bed, underneath my covers, and though I think for a few moments that it must be a figment of my imagination, it's not. Oh, Chevalier is definitely lying next to me, sleeping beneath those same covers. How did this happen? I put off the recollection of the previous day to stare at Chevalier's face. His glasses are off, and without them his face seems strangely empty. He looks vulnerable, almost like a child, except his features are too handsome for that. What am I thinking? I slowly put my hand to his cheek and flinch when his eyebrows crease. Moments later, his eyes open. They are foggy this early in the morning. What is this? Have I been woken by my princess? Usually it is the princess that wake, or it is usually the princes that wake their princess. I will always wonder how he manages to keep smiling like this. Even when he is in pain, he forces a smile. But you are no prince, and I am not some damsel princess. Chevalier closes his eyes again and sighs. There is only one way to break the spell of sleep. I flush as his lips curl into a mischievous smile. Still, his eyes do not open. I think about what happened last night. Parfait and Mythros' death, Varge's escape, and everyone else's heartbreak. Before I have to relieve the burden, I can afford to lose myself in some happiness. I lean forward to kiss his smile. I break away from Chevalier, startled. Princess? How distressing. Waltz the Big ruins everything. I quickly slip out of bed, and Chevalier sits up and puts on his glasses with a yawn. Good morning, Princess, and... His eyes widen when he sees Chevalier. Are you so tired that words have abandoned you, Waltz? No, I wanted to see if the princess was doing okay. If you were both all right, actually. He pauses to look at us, his eyebrows furrowed in thought. Though I can imagine just how tongue-tied you must be, you should speak if you have something to say. Waltz sighs. I didn't want to bring this up so soon, but it's been on my mind the whole night. It's just, you didn't have to kill Myth. That was my job. Your job, I doubt that. Besides, I didn't want to kill him. It was a reaction. The room goes silent for a few moments as Chevalier stares down at the floor. He told me before that lives are valuable. That is why I tried to save Mythros, but in the end, my sparing his life forced Chevalier to carry the burden of his death. He has already told me that it is not my fault. Parfait said that what I did was a good deed, but still. Killing Mythros saved us more casualties. I hope I can convince Chevalier of that. Most likely he will wrestle with that guilt for a long time. I turn my attention back to Waltz, and will the questions to the back of my mind for the time being. Waltz, there are questions I need to ask you. About how he broke his curse, about Mother being his teacher, about Mythros. There's so much to ask him, I do not even know where to start. We have plenty of time for explanations now, Princess. After your birthday, Delora and I will pick up your magic education, but for now you should rest. I'll give you the full story of my apprenticeship and curse another day. But Princess, Chevalier, I just thought I'd let you know that when Parfait came into this battle, she expected to die. She told us Okay, let me try that again. She told all of us that while we were sitting around trying to plot a rescue plan. I glance at Chevalier, who nods quietly. Was it because of her frailty after the Great War, or did Parfait somehow have a feeling? Oh, also, congratulations on breaking your curse, Princess. Chevalier sits up straight, his eyes narrowed behind his glasses. Walt, I was supposed to congratulate her first. Chevalier stands and kisses me promptly on the cheek. My cheeks flush and even Walt looks embarrassed. Congratulations, my sweet. It was all very dramatic when your curse broke. There was this bright light and... Wait. Why was there no bright light when I broke my curse? Both Walt and I burst out into laughter. Chevalier just sighs dramatically. He leans against my shoulder, and I do not protest. I have a feeling that getting through the memory of last night might be easier with him here. If anyone could put a smile on my face, it is Chevalier. We hope to see you again at the Marchen soon, Princess. I will be back, after all. I have friends there. Did I speak falsely? No, of course not. It's the truth. Anyway, I need to get going. I have explained what happened to your father, but you should talk with him privately soon. After everything that happened last night, speaking to the king is the last thing on my mind, but I suppose it must be done. Thank you, Waltz. And you, Chevalier, might want to ask for a guest room. But no bed is as comfy as the princess's. I nudge him without realizing it, but Chevalier just laughs. We promise Waltz that we will see him and everyone else in the Marchen soon. Afterwards, Waltz hurries out and shuts the door. My eyes go to the edge of my bed where something shiny catches my eyes. The glass slippers are a reminder of everything that happened yesterday. Of the fact that life goes beyond just black and white. Good and evil are subjective. In the end, life is gray, Mother. Both good and bad. But even so, even though fairy tale endings cannot exist, I still want to live my life with everyone else. Mythros centered his life around a single person. He was selfish. I will become someone better than him. Thinking about Mythros makes me remember something. Chevalier, yesterday you said that you took care of Mythros during the Great War. That no one came for him. Was that true? I don't know, Melody. He acted like it was, though, wasn't it? So you never knew Mythros? No, I didn't know him at all. I don't know if I would have been able to strike him down if I did. I don't know what burden he carried, but it seemed heavy. I only guessed at what I could say to distract him. I heard rumors of a strong witch that went abandoned for many years. That may have been him. It might not have been. So deception exists in everyone, but it is not entirely what Mother said it was. My birthday is tomorrow. I sit in the throne room, speaking to my father, who has listened to my tale with patience. When it is over, he looks at me sadly. I owe you an apology, Melody. This whole time you have been on your own, and I could not do a thing for you. You can now, starting first by explaining what happened between you and Mother. You knew she was a witch. I did. You did too before she forcefully erased your memories. I tried reaching out to you many times when you were a child, but my efforts were met with resistance. Still, I cannot excuse myself for what I have done. I truly abandoned you, and I am sorry for that, Melody. I will explain the story to you if you give me time. For now, I would very much like to mend my bond with you. To be honest, the king still angers me. He only apologizes now after all of this has come to light. Whether or not I was difficult to speak to, he still had an obligation to seek me out. He is still late to care, but he is still my father, and I can forgive him. I can learn to trust him again. It will take time, but I would like to mend our bond. I would also like to try speaking with the Melanie, Rod, and Ophelia, but that will take time. The king smiles at me. It is one of the first honest smiles I have seen from him in years. We have time, all of the time in the world, and we will mend our family bond, I promise. As I turn to leave the room, the king calls out for me. Melody, I am proud of you. More proud than... no, I'm gonna cry! More proud than any other father in the realm could ever be of his child. After what happened, we searched for Fritz, but he has vanished. Mythros and Varg had said that they had replaced him, but they never said anything about what happened to him. We searched endlessly, but to no avail. All I can hope is that he is safe, and that I will reunite with him again in the future. Oh, Waltz's performance today was amazing, don't you agree, Mr. Chevalier? I agree. You ladies look especially charming with so many lilies floating around you. Oh my! He always speaks like that. Do not mind him. It has been a whole month since the events at the palace. My birthday has come and gone. Now my life begins. I have been practicing magic with Waltz and Delora, attempting to bond with my family and visiting the Marchen when time allows me to. A niece was overjoyed to see me visiting often. Since Chevalier operates from there as a doctor, I visit often. Mostly, though, he clings to me like a leech. Oftentimes I find him in my bed when I could have sworn he was sleeping in another room for the night. Sometimes at night he has nightmares of blood on his hands and of Mythros' death. And at those times I am glad to be sitting right beside him, so I can promise him that things are all right. As for the fairy tale curse, I have no idea how Melody puts up with you. Rod's voice comes out from between his lips. Ah, now he can actually speak. Since the fairy tale curse was tied to Mother's still living soul in the crystal, her disappearance and my taking her place immediately caused the root to vanish. I have been working for days to break everyone's fairy tale curses with magic, and when I am done, no one in the kingdom will have to suffer from it ever again. And now the market is not just a place reserved for the cursed. Now it is open to the public. Melody enjoys it, though. She finds my poetic weavings to be the best in the kingdom. What he means to say is I can only put up with him because of our relationship. Loving someone so much that you can put up with their nonsensical poetry. I thought you were the nice one, Princess Melody. No, she has a point. Melanie focuses her attention on a musician standing off in the distance. She points excitedly, and then rushes after them, pulling her brother with her. Her guards follow. Ever since the incident at the palace, we have had more security. I do not blame the king, though it can be tiring at times. Luckily, he is more lax with me. When I told him Chevalier was going to be with me, he settled with having a Melanie and I share guards. And so I get to be alone with Chevalier often. Father was wary of him at first, until he found out he was a renowned doctor. Now he and Chevalier get on well enough. Chevalier takes a step closer to me and I place my hands around his arm. Aww! I am no prince, nor am I a knight in shining armor. I am just a doctor who has been blessed with the most beautiful woman in this world. Chevalier begins to lead me through the town again. He is one of the only constants in my ever-changing life. He is the one that will always make me smile, and we share a burden, the burden of a friend's death. He is more burdened with nightmares than I am, and while I wish I could do more to help, I can at least listen to him, just like he listens to me. No matter the burden, it can be overcome. Melody? Yes. I love you more than anything in this world. I love you too. We share one kiss, ignoring the spectators in the town with a shared smile. Then we follow after a Melanie. Aw, okay, that was so good. Okay, that was a good ending. So next time I am going to be doing his bad ending. Oh gosh, Parfait died in this one, and this was supposed to be the good ending. I can't even imagine what's gonna happen in the bad ending. Oh god. Guys, what do? I need to get myself a tissue because my nose is a little runny from starting to cry. Ah! Oh, that was so sad. But no, if Parfait died, then what the hell is gonna happen? No! Please don't tell me that somebody else is gonna die, or that he's gonna die like Karma did in his bad ending. No! Oh, but they're so cute. Ah! I didn't like him at first because, yeah, you guys know why. I think I've explained it before in the beginning. I didn't like him at first, but, oh, I ship them so much harder than I ship her with Karma. Ah! They were so cute. And they were perfect for each other. But, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to wait it out till the end of this, and we'll see if there's anything after. I doubt there is, but we shall see. Thank you for playing. Cinderella phenomenon. Uh-huh. Okay, I think that's it. It sure looks like it. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!